all areas. And that's what we're working at doing this week. That's a goal for ours. I think it's a goal for every team, but we would like to start faster.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Carolina Pro Football Report on ADSN1.com and 730 The Game. I'm Kevin Tolbert from Everbank Stadium here in frosty Jacksonville, Florida. We hope that it warms up by game time, but your Carolina Panthers are getting set to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who currently sit at 8-7. The Panthers are currently now at 2-13 on the season, but one of the upsides on this matchup, the big news of the week, is now the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a 4-game losing slide, so they'll be coming in with a head of steam trying to rectify that. Still having some playoff hopes alive, but we'll get to a lot of that later. We got a lot in store for you today. The Panthers coming off the loss to the Packers, but the great thing about it is they did show how effective this offense can be. They just have to do that a little bit faster today. So that's one of the biggest concerns this week. We talked to Chris Tabor about it. You heard him in the open talk about them needing to get off to a fast start. So that's nothing new to the Panthers this year. Just hope that they can do it with the weaponry and what they've been able to establish with the offense so far over these last few games. Now, as you know, whenever we go around the country covering the Panthers, the one thing we like to do is tell fans where they can go and eat, where they can get a good meal, where they can watch other NFL games while they're on the road. So we did that, and we wanted to give you a look back at the season as well as some of those iconic and lovely places to eat. All right, now we couldn't kick off this segment of the pregame show without being in the perfect location. So we're just south of Jacksonville. Well, we're a lot south of Jacksonville. Down in Central Florida. We wanted to get away just a little bit to sample some of the other stuff going on here in the state. So we're here at Cocoa Beach area at Grills, Riverside, and Tiki Bar as we get started on this little tour of our food tour for the season. But you can't talk about the regular season without talking about training camp. We went to Spartanburg this year for what we now know was the final season with training camp in Spartanburg, but we were fortunate to find a local eatery that's been around for decades in Spartanburg that's been serving up good comfort food for a very long time.
My name is Jerry Leon Wiggleton. I worked here for only 51 years. This is the only job I ever had. I like my job, but I love my customer. Call it!
Welcome to the Beacon. My name is Karen Harwell. I'm one of the owner-operators here at the Beacon Drive-In. It started off in 1946 at another location up the street on West Main Street. In the early 70s, it was moved here, and this is the second building on this location. When it first came to this parking lot, it was on the sidewalk, and it was a walk-up only. You could walk up, and then in the early 70s, this was built, and people was actually able to come in and sit down.
Y'all look good in my neighborhood. We're going to eat here or to go?
Here. JC called the orders for the Beacon Drive-In. When you walked in, JC greeted you, took your order, yelled it out. Nothing was ever written down.
Let's call the orders out. Yeah. And I just get tickled to death. I just be tickled to death. Come on. No. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want.
Hey, give me a plain hash, slaw and sauce on the side. Hey, add a chili cheese, a plenty. Put the axe on it. Hey, add a small half and half, Mr. Rodney. I want that small half and half just like my wife. Hot. Hey, Mr. Boyd, give me a ham light on that mayonnaise. What you gonna have? Hey, add a small tater down there, cook.
You made your way up to Mr. White. Well, Mr. White took your money, greeted you, and sent you on your way. We do burgers, chicken, barbecue, catfish, flounder, perch, shrimp, oysters, clams. You can choose anything from a burger with mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, and onion to a barbecue hash sandwich with red sauce and red slaw, or some great fried chicken with coleslaw. As far as your portion size goes, it's an aplenty. An aplenty means fries and onion rings piled high on your plate. Our main sellers is a chili cheese aplenty and a hash aplenty. Two big top sellers at the Beacon.
Chili cheeseburger with mustard and slaw.
I've been coming here for years. I love the catfish. I pick out, and next thing I know, about an hour later, I'm like, you know what? You feel me?
I started in 1998 as a cashier. Been here for 25 years. Now I'm one of the owners, and I've met people like Guy Fieri, Danny Glover. I've met President Bush. He ate a chili cheese aplenty. They've been many celebrities come through. We've grown as far as people coming from all over the United States, hearing about us, bringing books in. I had a lady came in over the weekend to show me an article. Well, it was actually a book, and she wanted me to sign it where my name was mentioned in the book about the Beacon Drive-In. It's coming up election year. This has always been a very well-known stopping place for politicians. If you're going to run for anything, you should go to the Beacon. Because if you normally run for anything, you will win the election if you come to the Beacon Drive-In. George Bush said that. We think the Beacon is very important to the Spartanburg community. We just want to make sure that the Beacon's around for a long time.
Sometimes I didn't have the money after a football game or something like that to eat. I just get a tea. He says, "Is that all you want?" I said, "Well, I don't have any more money." He said, "Tell me what you want," and he'd give it to me.
So that's the Beacon Drive-In. Great history, great food at a great price. And if you're at the Panther camp, stop on in the Beacon.
Call it!
And the first game of the year was Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. That's how they kicked off the season. A lot of expectations for Bryce Young, all the hype, all the circumstances. It was Bryce Young's sort of welcome to the NFL moment. So 2 interceptions on that game, but a very exciting outing for the young QB getting started in his career. His performance led to them being tied at halftime 10-10. Bryce Young also threw his first NFL touchdown, completed to tight end Hayden Hurst, who had a little bit of revenge for these Falcons here in Atlanta. And Bryce finished the game 20 of 38 for 146 yards. Now, that's not the performance that most were looking for, but those 3 turnovers for the Panthers were very costly. They all, in fact, led to scores. The first 3-play, 17-yard drive, Ritter to Bijan Robinson. Then after the second interception, a cool 49-yard field goal for the Falcons. Then after a Miles Sanders fumble, this time it was Tyler Algier with the 3-yard run. But just as exciting was the food that we got to try out at the Busy Bee Cafe.
1947 by Lucy Jackson. She was a self-taught cook from Carrollton, but she had a desire to own her own business. The only business started during segregation that still exists in its original location and still thrives and still receives worldwide notoriety for its food. They were late getting lunch ready one day, and they had a regular customer named Sonny. And Sonny says, "You all are busy as bees in there." And he said, Miss Lucy held her head up and said, "That's it, that's what I'm gonna call it, Busy Bee." My father purchased this restaurant in 1981. I came here in 1987 to help my father, who was ill. and could no longer run the business. So I came in at the bottom, learned everything. They had an exceptional crew here. They pretty much laid the foundation for me, taught me everything about Southern cooking, the food, the seasons the vegetable goes through, and the consistency of serving a product like this, and that was the most important thing, the consistency of it. They always sold original Southern cooking. When I came in, I expanded the menu, and not only did I expand it, I actually looked at each individual item to see, hey, how can we make it better? So fried chicken was something that I knew, the crispiness of a cast iron skillet and the moist and juiciness of chicken being covered when it's fried. So we expanded our menu, and our fried chicken lives up to what we say is authentic Southern cooking. I think one of the most important parts of the history for Busy Bee was from the original owner, Lucy Jackson. According to her son, there was a missionary that came up on the street, did not have any money, and wanted something to eat. So Miss Lucy sat down, ate with him, and once he got up and got ready to leave, he told her this place would always be busy and this place would always be blessed. During my tenure here, I would feed Dr. Lowry, Tyrone Brooks, Jesse Jackson when he comes to town, Andrew Young when he comes to town.
It's amazing. You get to meet people that I thought I probably would never ever meet unless I worked here. So I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of politicians, a lot of rappers, doctors, lawyers. This is historic. So if you hadn't been to Busy Bee, you would want to come here.
According to Miss May, Dr. Martin Luther King would eat here, and he would eat fried chicken. But the civil rights leaders, until their deaths, still continue to come. Our collard greens would be the top vegetable. Our collard greens, macaroni and cheese, we use fresh collard greens. They're cooked slow. The candy yams and the macaroni and cheese are virtually on every plate. The first waitress that was here when I first came in 1981 was Miss Julia May Wardlaw. She worked for the original owner. She would have been, if Miss Lucy was the heart and the kitchen was the heart of Busy Bee, Miss May was his soul. She was known all over Atlanta for May at the Busy Bee. I still have the commitment to what she started of authentic Southern cooking, understanding the product we make and being able to deliver it consistently. Because people relate food to family, to things that are familiar with them. And you know, if a grandparent prepared it or an aunt prepared it, the love that goes in it, because it has to be slow. It's not something that you can cook fast.
So we are south of Jacksonville, about an hour and a half south in the Cocoa Beach area at Grills, Riverside, and Tiki Bar. Now, for the second road game of the season, Bryce Young was not available due to an ankle injury. The Panthers fell to the Seattle Seahawks 37-27. Andy Dalton got the start, and it looked like the team was going to make their way to a win. A lot of success there, some deep passes that happened. DJ Chark, made his first steps at making big plays on the team. But because of penalties, including the 8 penalties against Ike Ekwonu in his second year, the Panthers dropped that one 37-27. But as you know, this segment is also about the food. So the winning food that we got to try out in Seattle was at Ray's Seafood.
Welcome to Ray's Boathouse, celebrating 50 years here on Shilsho Bay. Ray Leitenberger first moved here in 1939. It was mostly a boat rental place for fishermen. Ballard at the time was a quiet little fishing village, and now it's part of Seattle. And in 1973, the present owners purchased the property from Ray's and opened Ray's Boathouse as you know it today. Here at Ray's, we try to find the finest Northwest seafood we can attain and then prepare it simply to make sure the flavors come through. A couple of our signature dishes that really says Ray's is one, our grilled king salmon that we get fresh, grill up simply with just a little lemon beurre blanc, fresh Washington asparagus. Another is our sable fish. Another name for it is butterfish because it just melts in your mouth. It comes from the local waters, and we just grill that up with a little bok choy and rice and a touch of soy. It's fantastic. So we're up here in the cafe kitchen. Yeah, we stay pretty busy all the time up here. We're open lunch and dinner, 7 days a week. And for those of you that don't want to eat seafood at every meal, we do offer a couple of steak options, and one being our ribeye steak that's grilled on an open flame grill, served with mashed potatoes and grilled broccolini, and topped with a port wine sauce. So it's pretty fantastic as well. So this is our fish and chips. We use Alaskan true cod, just lightly panko breading, deep fried to a golden brown, served with our homemade tartar sauce, coleslaw, and ketchup. And one of the best ways to start a meal at Ray's is with our fresh oysters. Shuck to order on the half shell. Puget Sound produces some of the finest oysters in the world, and they come right out of these waters, right to your plate. We also have the best clams, mussels, and also crab cakes that come right from the local waters. Yeah, we're up here in the cafe bar. It's a great place to come after the game. We even welcome Panther fans anytime. We've got 10 local beers on draft, handcrafted shaken cocktails, and the best view in the city. So it's a great spot to come hang out, watch Sunday Night Football, and all the highlights from today's games. As you can see behind me, we've got a nice sized dining room with plenty of room for everyone, so come on down. Every seat's got a great view, plenty of room for everyone. I would definitely say that Ray's is a seafood lover's paradise. Everything on the menu is fantastic from start to finish, from the oysters to the crab cakes to the salmon. So if you're a lover of fresh seafood, this is definitely the place in Seattle you want to visit. So that's Ray's Boathouse. So Seattle's most iconic seafood restaurant. Come on down, whether you win or lose, celebrate or drown your sorrows. But you can do it all with this fabulous view.
So some amazing options on the menu at Ray's Seafood. Can't wait to see what the schedule holds for next season, to see if we get a chance to get back out there and sample some of more Ray's Seafood. It's an amazing location, beautiful, especially at sunset. We got a chance to experience it all over there with all the wonderful options over there. The full bar, great place for fans to watch a game. But we got to roll on, and Carolina at Detroit. The Carolina at Detroit game, the expectations were high, but just like the sign says when you enter the field in Detroit, it's Detroit against everybody, and that definitely meant the Carolina Panthers. A 42-24 loss for the Panthers in Detroit, and unfortunately that was the game that Chandler Zavala went down with his neck injury and had to be carted off the field. Adam Thielen, again, had a pretty nice game, 11 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. So a good day for Adam Thielen. The Panthers' efforts to spread the ball around. Also, Tommy Tremble had a touchdown. DJ Chark, and as I mentioned before, Adam Thielen also. And then throw in the key fumble by Miles Sanders, and you've got the recipe for the Panthers' loss. Jared Goff was 20 of 28 for 236 yards and 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 109 yards on 19 carries, including a touchdown. And his longest run was the first touchdown of the game. It was a 42-yard rushing touchdown. So they had it going on in both the pass game and the run game. Josh Reynolds led the Lions receivers with 4 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. And tight end Sam Laporta was the big winner on the Lions offense with 2 touchdown receptions. Didn't fare well as far as football, but food-wise, we were able to try out a wonderful place, American Coney Island. It's a staple in Detroit, has been for several decades now, many decades in the city. Next time you're there, you definitely have to go by and see our guy, Big Red. He's a comedian, but he took the time to give us a tour of American Coney Island.
Everybody knows me as comedian Detroit Red, born and raised on the east side of Detroit. Today, I'm gonna tell you the real history. The historical, legendary American Coney Island. American Coney Island was started by Gus Keros, who was an immigrant from Greece, and he was on his way here to Detroit, Motor City, to get into the automotive industry. So when he got to Detroit, his dreams of getting into the automotive industry just didn't happen. So he then decided to open up his own little shoe shine and hot dog stand. Eventually got to a point where he could open the original part. The original American Coney Island was just this stretch from here to here. He had what was called a speakeasy, or what we say nowadays, an after hour, located in the basement. He would notice that some of his guests would get up and leave to go find something to eat. So he came up with the Coney Island hot dog. It's an all-beef hot dog, chili sauce, mustard, and onion. And just for those that want to know, no, we don't put beans in our chili and put it on your hot dog. Hey, you want it special? Yeah. Everything on your special, chili, mustard, onions? All right. Anything else for y'all today?
No, I think that's good.
All right, if you give me a second, I'll be right back with this for you. The chili recipe is proprietary to the family. It's the exact same recipe that's been used for the last 107 years. The hot dog recipe is exactly the same as when it started from 107 years ago, and made specially for us by Dearborn Sausage Company. You can't even buy these hot dogs anywhere but here at American Coney Island. And on any given day, especially a game day, you can find it packed in here. They also opened up another location in Las Vegas, but this here is the original with much history.
First experience, I'm definitely excited to be here. I'm trying to see which one is going to be which, because I'm going to actually go next door to try next door too, so. I like that. I like that. You got a good, nice little snap to it. The chili is just right, and the mustard is not too much. Everything goes right with each other.
You know, if you look around the wall, it's pictures from all over the years. We got some of the original structure from when the first opened here. But this is the original owner and operator, Gus Keros. And then after him, it passed on to Chuck Keros, which is the son of Gus. And in the last 30, 40 years, Grace Keros, the daughter of Chuck, has owned and operated it and ran it. So like I said, 107 years of family and tradition. As you can see, American Coney Island has its own hot dog eating championship belt. The last contestant ate 24 hot dogs in 10 minutes. The contest itself helped support Detroit firefighters and Detroit police officers. Carol's family has always been very charitable. You've seen some very big names over the years come in, like Al Roker, my man from Barstool. Just the other day, we had Robert Kennedy Jr. here enjoying some of our great legendary Coney Island hot dogs. And the family always had the ideal to stick to what you know best. We carry a large, wide menu for beers, because we do serve beer for all those football fans that like to get their beer on while they watch the game or before. So on any given day, you can come here and get a Coney dog, American special. We we got the loose burger, which is all ground beef in a hot dog bun. We serve wingdings, tenders, lamb gyros, Greek salads, which you can get with chicken or gyro meat. So the menu is not really extensive, but I guarantee you every item that's on the menu is excellent, good, and prepared with love and originality. So all my Lions fans and my Panther fans, come on down. Get you one of the legendary Coney dogs. Receive some of the great hospitality and service that we had to offer, because that's what we're about. This ain't just about a hot dog, it's an experience.
Now, when the Panthers faced the Dolphins this year, everyone thought definitely an opportunity for the Panthers to slay the giant, but that did not end up being the case despite their fast start. One of the goals of the Panthers this year has been trying to get off to a fast start early in the game to try to force their opponents to play from behind, throw them off balance. Thought that would be the case with 2 scores in the first quarter for the Panthers, but Tyreek Hill and Mozart proved to be too much for the Carolina Panthers at that time to handle. Final score was 42-21, so they just ran out of answers, but that was a game where we saw some of the guys on the roster really start to make their mark. Tommy Tremble was very athletic and made some big plays in that game for the Panthers. So that was a great place. And it was so exciting that we forgot to even do our food on the road feature for that week because we were just so excited about getting prepared to go to the game. But we still enjoyed a day at the beach. We'll show you some highlights from that later. Had a beach football game, but rolling on. But once the Panthers hit the road again, it was on to Chicago, and for a revenge game of sorts. DJ Moore in Chicago, Deontay Foreman in Chicago. The Panthers again got off to an early start. Emir Smith-Marset with the punt return. Amazing 79-yard return. Thought that would be the game that the Panthers would break it open. But again, the Panthers slid 13-16, just narrowly, so they were starting to see some signs that there could be some great possibilities with the team. But we did score a win at a local eatery, Gino's East, the deep dish king of Chicago pizza. It was amazing. It did not disappoint. Here's a look back at that.
Welcome to Gino's East. I'm the general manager, Jonathan Sanchez. Let me show you around. So this is the original location. We've been here since 1966. It actually got started by 2 taxi drivers. They found a woman by the name of Alice Mae Redmond. She was working at a different location and she developed a pizza recipe that she really liked and really enjoyed. And the taxi drivers really enjoyed it as well too. So they actually took that, and that's the recipe that we still use to this day. So it's because of Alice Mae Redmond that we actually have Gino's East. It used to be really dark and downstairs. So a lot of people, when they come here that haven't been here for a long time, they look for the basement. That's the first thing they ask for. We no longer have that, but now we built up and it's a lot larger building. So for those guests that were here around when we first opened in 1966, the first thing that they say when they come in is, where's the basement? But this room right here kind of gives that same feeling, and when people walk up to this room, they're like, oh, this is kind of more like the feeling of what I had with the old restaurant when it was downstairs in the basement. And one of the classics that we're known for is the patty sausage. So what the patty sausage is imagine a patty of sausage that covers the entire top of your pizza. Now, a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, wait, right off the bat. But just imagine, some of the great Chicago sausage with every single bite of pizza that you get. It's actually a phenomenal pizza. lot of people know us for, they call it the cornmeal crust, but there's actually no cornmeal in the crust. There's a special conditioner that we use when we make our deep dish dough, and that's what gives that flavoring and the golden hue to the dough. If you look at everybody else's dough, it's very white, no flavor. Ours has flavor and texture to it. That's a huge difference because that's about 50% of the flavor profile that you're trying, and if it has no flavor to it, it's not adding anything to the pizza. So that's where we're different. In fact, just a little fun tip for you, I have a guest who actually comes in and just buys the crust from us, and he eats it just like that with his coffee because he loves the taste of it and the texture of it. So that right there, it's a thing on its own. Besides the deep dish pizza that you can get here that everybody's obviously known and world famous for, we also have our tavern thin crust pizza. We make our own mozzarella sticks in-house, and then we also carry Bona beef. So you can not only try the famous deep dish pizza, but also try the Italian beef. One of the things that really attracted me to the restaurant is its casual atmosphere. I mean, beer and pizza is already as casual as you can get, but then you add writing on the walls, and that just invites everybody to kind of come in and just have fun and be themselves. And that's one of the great things about the restaurant. People come back many years afterwards and they try to look of where their name is on the wall. So we try not to paint as many walls as we can as possible. When you go out of town, you want to try the beers from the area, and so we have beers that we make specifically for us that are made by Great Central Brewing, which is here in Chicago, and so that's another great reason for to come over here. And what's better than beer and pizza? We've added another big Chicago staple here to the Gino's East at downtown Chicago, which is Rainbow Cone that you see right behind me. As I said before, it's a concept that actually started in the south side of Chicago, and we also opened up a Gotham Bagels, which is also a new concept for us. We have the Comedy Bar up on the third floor. It's got state-of-the-art equipment. I can guarantee you that there will be no other comedy bar that will provide the experience that we can provide for you here at Gino's East, and that's located here within the building.
Kids just wanna be rival. Careful not to get too close, I might just go.
Panthers fans are also welcome here. Everybody is welcome here. You know, one of the biggest things about Chicago is that we like to welcome everybody here. We want to have people come to Gino's East more for some of those sporting events. We're going to be putting some more TVs in for that reason. So yeah, everybody is welcome here, except for the Packers fans.
So Jonathan, you've told me the story. Amazing place. Now it's time for the taste test
why we're here.
to see if this is Gino's East. Is this the authentic, best deep dish pizza place in Chicago? So we'll, I think here it comes.
Oh yeah, here it comes. We got our, and as you can see, George is getting a nice little cheese pull right there.
Wow, look at that. Now that's
the money
says it
right
all.
there.
Oh, look at that. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Panthers fans, if you're hungry before the game, after the game, make sure you stop by Gino's East. You will not regret it. So as we rolled on to week 12, the Panthers still holding out hope for their first road win as they travel to Tennessee. We rolled into Tennessee. We found this amazing place. We wanted to get that kicked off early before we start talking about that game because unfortunately it was a disappointing loss and also the unfortunate demise of head coach Frank Reich. But we did find Bringle's Smoking Oasis, an amazing spot right in the heart of Nashville with all the best flavors that you can think of as far as good old-fashioned brisket.
Hey, I'm Kerry Bringle. I am the owner of Bringle's Smoking Oasis and Peg Leg Porker. I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. And, so it's nice. We're a true independent. We're 100% family owned and operated. And, we're about as Nashville as you can get. I'm a pit master. I've been cooking barbecue for over 35 years. And I opened the Peg Leg Porker restaurant 10 years ago. And it's been very successful, but it's all just real Tennessee barbecue. It's pork and chicken. And so when we wanted to expand, we chose to do a whole different concept, and that's what we did here with Bringle's Smoking Oasis. A lot of people told me I needed to do a Texas-style place, so I ended up opening Bringle's Smoking Oasis here, and we're focused on Texas-style barbecue. It was an old gas station, and it sits on a triangular lot. It had the old canopy where there used to be the little convenience store right in the middle. We turned that into the bar in the garage area. That's now the main dining room. We added these big screens, and we made it a place where you can bring your family and your kids and your animals. You can even bring dogs out here. And you're going to have some great food. You can eat outside, you can eat inside. Brisket is the star of the show over here. That's the centerpiece of Texas barbecue. Sometimes on Sundays we'll do beef ribs. They're also a big hit. But the pastrami, the smoked pastrami, is something that we do that's unique. And it's a great product that really most Nashvillians hadn't gotten to try before now. All of our meats here are slow smoked. We cook at about 220. We use hickory wood, which is what's unique to Tennessee. But we trim those briskets and pastrami's, and we put them on the night before, and they smoke for about 18 hours. And then you can cut it, you have it cut exactly the way you want it, and we cut as little or as much as you want, and everything's weighed by the pound. And usually when we have a big game, mainly the University of Tennessee football games, this place gets packed. It's a great venue, it's nice and airy, and we got the big screen TVs over here. It's always a great place to see a game. I think we have a total of around 18 to 20 TVs, but we have two 12.5 by 6.5 foot jumbotrons that really make it fun to watch the games.
Well, it's great for sports fans if you have kids, because you can come, you let them play in that little area, and then we get to sit down and watch the game and not have to worry about them. It's the best.
I love Pringles. I'm here almost every weekend. The beer is great, the barbecue is great. I teach Pilates right across the street, so I can just walk right on over and hang out.
We're friendly to all of the football fans all over the country. You know, after you go to the Titans game and you have a good time at the game, but you're still not done watching football, you can come over here, watch it on the big screens, get some great food, and generally have a good time.
All right, so we've had a tour of Bringle's Smoking Oasis, and oh my God, now we get to taste it. We get to see what this is all about. Oh man, mac and cheese bowl with chili. That is true brisket. It melts in your mouth. The smoke, the flavor, you know it's true brisket when you can taste the smoke, and they definitely have it here. So be sure to stop by here after the game. You'll love it, and we'll see you after the game. So some really good brisket cooked up at Bringle's. It's one of our favorites throughout this season. We all had a blast there. So the next time you're in Nashville, definitely stop by Bringle's. You won't regret going there for barbecue. Now they have a lot of great restaurants in Nashville as well where you can watch the game, as are all of the places that we pick. They're always great spots, not just for the food, but also places where you can get the action when you're on the road. They're great places to visit. They're in safe areas. So we always do our due diligence to make sure that we're sending fans to places that they'll both love, be safe, and enjoy the game. So again, Bringles was great in Nashville, but unfortunately it didn't work out for the Panthers that week. But there's always hope for the future. And then there was Tampa, Florida again. So that was the second matchup of the year in Florida this year. So a lot of action going on with the Panthers in Florida this season. But Tampa Bay, that was just a very, very exciting game. They had Dante Jackson available for that game. They also had J.C. Horn back in the lineup to help deal with, and I don't know if you could ever shut him down, but to deal with Mike Evans, who ended up setting an NFL record during the game. But they did play them tough. It was Chris Tabor's first game as interim head coach. So the team started to look a little bit different, and the Panthers came up just short in the 18-21 loss to Tampa Bay against former Panthers quarterback Baker Mayfield. But the biggest issue for that game, unfortunately, was the rain. It acted as a 12th man for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It definitely dumped on us, and we spent a couple of days trying to dry out. Now, as far as food goes, we didn't find a restaurant that was better than the one that we went to the first time, which was the Columbia restaurant in Ybor City down in Tampa. So if you're ever down there, make sure you stop by Ybor City, go by the Columbia, and tell them that ADSN sent you. They'll probably make you something really, really nice. But that's the amazing place to go to for food. Now, rolling on with our final road restaurant of the 2023 season is Two Jacks down in New Orleans, where the Panthers had their Week 14 matchup.
Two Jacks actually began at 811 Decatur Street, about 4 blocks up. In the middle of the block, right across from the French Market, it was a market restaurant owned by a butcher who catered to the folks that ran the stalls. So at most market restaurants in the day, they would basically sell tokens or tickets early in the morning. The folks would open their stalls, then in the afternoon they'd come and they'd sit down to have a meal. There have been 3 owners, 3 buildings since 1856, so over 160 years we've kept it going strong. Otis and the Guichet family bought the restaurant from the Two Jacks in the early 1900s. You know, we have photos all over the walls of some of the famous folks that have been in, at least since the photograph was invented. If you look up at the top of the walls above the mirrors, you'll see this tiny bottle collection. Steve Latter, who bought this from the Guichets for 40 years, when he held audience, one of his things that all of his customers knew him for was his collection of these miniature bottles. As I said, when we started out, we were kind of this little tiny place of literal mom and pop, where whatever was served that day was what everybody ate. We did just under 1,000 guests, say, for Christmas Day. And that's where we need to be, where we want to be. So we still do offer the table d'eau, because it is an historic part of what we are and what we do. But of course, we offer a full and expanded a la carte menu as well now of New Orleans classics. The good thing is we've stayed in the same neighborhood. You know, if you look out of our door, off of our balcony, you can see the river boats on the river. So we have a beautiful view, but we're also very close, about 4 blocks off of Bourbon Street and all of the tourist attractions that everybody knows and loves so well.
Now, the Panthers did end up falling to the New Orleans Saints 28-6. So another unfortunate loss for the Cats in New Orleans this year. But, there's always great food after games, to celebrate either a win or comfort you in a loss. So we roll on. Now we are in Florida here in the Sunshine State for this Carolina Panthers versus the Jaguars matchup, and it is going to be amazing. So with that, back to the stadium for more on this week's game. So we hope you've enjoyed that segment and get back to some of those places, whether you're going to a game or not. But now let's dig into a little bit of the football. As we mentioned, Trevor Lawrence will not be starting today. He has been ruled out for today's matchup, still dealing with that shoulder injury. It is a right AC joint that has caused Trevor Lawrence to be ruled out today. So his backup QB, CJ Beathard, will step in as a backup today. This is his first start since coming over from the San Francisco 49ers. So we'll have to see what he has in store today. Hopefully the Panthers defense can keep him off balance. And the Jaguars have turned the ball over at least twice over the last 3 games. So this Panthers defense has really been ramping it up, creating turnovers. So this is one of the perfect opportunities, a perfect team for them to continue to exercise that part of the defense. And then he'll have Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk. They're both averaging over 13 yards per catch. So that's something that the Carolina Panthers secondary will have to deal with. But as I said, with no Trevor Lawrence, probably will take some of the sting out of that for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That pass defense for the Carolina Panthers still ranked in the top 5. Now, J.C. Horn missed practice on Wednesday and Thursday with the toe. He's listed as questionable for today. So we'll have to see. We'll look at the inactives later on in the show. And that Panthers secondary will also be without Troy Hill. So Troy Hill, 49 tackles this season, a very pinnacle part of this defense, really likes to fly around the ball. So they'll be without him today. But one of the people that they will have is cornerback Dante Jackson. Dante Jackson having primarily a very healthy season this year, so something that he has struggled with in the past. He's now in his 6th year. We got to sit down with him, our NFL analyst and former Carolina Panther Colin Cole got a chance to sit down and figure out what Dante's all about and how he's dealing with the comeback.
Got a chance to sit down with one of the Carolina Panthers cornerstones at cornerback, Mr. Dante Jackson.
And thank you for having me.
So what have been the biggest adjustments in the culture of this team from training camp to now, and what do you like most?
Just the brotherhood, as I would say, that's the biggest thing that keeps me coming to work every day with a smile on my face and enthusiastic regardless of what's going on outside. The brotherhood is what makes a lot of, the hard times easier for real.
How's your leadership with Cooley, with your growth and the impact this year has made?
Relationship with Cooley, really good, man, really strong. Even though he know you're doing your own private film study, he gonna always try to just give you small little tidbits and small little notes to make sure that you at the top of your game on Sunday, play in and play out. And then again, we got D'Angelo Hall in the room with us too, and he's just been awesome because besides his savviness with his film study and his savviness about knowing and teaching you how to read receivers, he also been in the game and he done it 14 years, so this is my 6th year and I've never had that before. I've never had a guy who's been in my shoes coaching me, you know what I'm saying, not since college. He asking questions that we may miss, during meetings. He gonna ask that question that we all probably was thinking, but we probably couldn't get a chance to ask it. When you got a smart coach, that's a plus. But when you have a coach that has done it and has been in your shoes and who has won battles, who has lost battles, it gets no better than that. It gets no more real than that, more genuine than that, for real.
You're an aggressive guy on the field. What do you like most about applying that aggressiveness in Avero's system, and how does it allow you to be more effective in both the pass defense and the run defense?
My first time getting on the field, able to actually do it, call plays, I'll do all that, was in training camp, So for me, I think it took me a little bit longer to really hone in and really understand what the system wanted from us. Once we all, I'm gonna say as a secondary and as a defense, once we all kind of made it our own thing and made it, some things that not just Coach E's defense or Cooley's defense or Coach Reich's defense. It was once we made it our defense, that's when it was able guys are able to fly around, guys are able to do everything. You see Derrick Brown taking off, you see Burns always been the player, he's been Frankie Louisville, you know what I'm saying, getting JC back, so you see guys able to really like take it into their own hands.
As a leader in the locker room, how did you help the collective group stay locked in through the struggles the offense had while the defensive unit was a little bit further along?
We was always one, I know as players, I know me as a teammate, I'm always just trying to give confidence to the guys around me, you know what I'm saying? Make sure they know because, you got the whole world telling you what you're not doing right. But the thing that always stood true and the reason we're a top 5 passing defense in the league is because no matter who's out there, we all took that field together and we all gave each other confidence. And, and that's kind of how I've always been, I want to step into coaching after playing, and that's what type of coach I'll always be, you know what I'm saying? I'll always be the guy who gonna let you know, you know what I'm saying, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, because that's kind of a forbidden thing, these days. Everybody want a tough love and tough coach and tell you what you need to be improving on, but nobody ever tell you, what you actually doing good, or when you out there doing your thing 4, 5, 6 games straight. People kind of like pass it off, but let you go mess up for 1 or 2 games or 1 or 2 plays. Everybody trying to let you know.
So what was your greatest NFL memory so far?
Probably week 3 my rookie year here against Cincinnati. Caught 2 interceptions as a rookie. Coming off the week before, I had caught my first interception of my career, and then the next week I ended up catching 2 here in front of fans for the second home game of the season. I think that was the game that kind of like put Action Jackson on the map, and that kind of was the game that had people expecting me to make great plays.
What was the best football advice you've ever gotten?
Oh man, dang, that's a good question, man. I would say it probably would be, be on time and be attentive. When you talk about Cam, you talking about Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, those type guys, Ryan Khalil. I was able to actually see, that type of professional process up close and personal throughout a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday pregame, you know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing I would get from that is just being attentive.
So I understand that you had a chance to go back home.
It just was an eye-opening experience, and I think that was one of the key things that helped me, start playing some of my best ball, is because I realized, even though you feel like you down and under, you feel like you can't get nothing going, these people still love you, these people still supporting you, these people do not see you for your bad plays, I promise you. I ain't never thought that I'd be getting my jersey retired, let alone being in the NFL, you know what I'm saying? So now being in my 6th year, get my jersey retired, stuff like that, like being able to take care of my family, being able to take care of my daughters and my fiance, it's crazy, man.
What is Dante Jackson's biggest interest outside of football?
I would say I'm into, I like to dress up, but mostly I'm just full-time dad. I'm like more like once the season over, I'm more hands-on. I'm at the recitals. I'm picking up, dropping off from school, because growing up, my pop spent most of my life in prison. He went when I was about 5 or 6, got out when I was like 22. You know what I'm saying? So like my whole thing, just being a father, is just being there.
So Dante, would 12-year-old you believe that you would be in the position that you are right now?
Confidently, if you told 12-year-old me, like, you would be in it, he probably would say like, duh, right? But like, actual reality of it, I wouldn't believe you. You know what I'm saying? Like the confidence, like I said, the confidence was like, duh, like, right, it's supposed to be right. But then in the back of my mind, it's like, coming from where I come from, I'm from New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? Jefferson Parish, Salisbury, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be lucky to graduate high school where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? You'd be lucky to make it, to your 25th birthday. I would think that I would believe that I was here, but I would know that it would be something hard to really accomplish for real.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, so some good work there by Dante Jackson. Great, healthy season for him. And they'll need him today because they have to contend with the Jaguars' top rusher, Trevor Etienne. You all might be familiar with him, former Clemson running back. So hopefully that run defense from 2 weeks ago shows up to help with the run game. But on to the Panthers' offense. Bryce Young, he's been out warming up today, so he's ready, he's fresh. A week ago, over 300 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, his best performance of the season. So we want to make sure we get a repeat of that for Young today. But he has a chance to do it. This secondary has been a little soft lately in their 4-game slide, giving up 283 yards to the Buccaneers a week ago with former quarterback Baker Mayfield. But the biggest key item, as we mentioned before, for the Carolina Panthers today is getting off to a fast start. That's something that they've had difficulties with all throughout this season, so they'll have to actually get an early lift from this offense this week, much like they did back in Miami. So some heavy scores, and people often ask, why do you need to get off to a quick start? Well, getting off to a quick start helps keep the opposing offenses off balance. They can't stick to their regular run-pass scenarios that they've developed to match up with you. Obviously, being behind, you have to play a little more to the pass, which plays into the favor of the Carolina Panthers. So hopefully they can get on the board early with this offense. As we said, Chuba Hubbard, he's been out warming up today, and Ike Ekwonu was also listed as questionable. We'll check on that in the inactive report in a minute, but he was listed as questionable. Hadn't seen him out this morning working out, so we got to look and see if he will actually be available. But with regard to the Panthers' run game today, Mr. Faithful this season he's turned into is Chuba Hubbard. He's also been out working out this morning, so he looks in good shape, so we'll have to see. But he was limited in practice earlier in the week, but then fully participated on Friday, so we expect him to be in the game. But as I mentioned, he has been out on the field working out. We hear the fans. Bryce Young just going by, so we know he's a go today. And then there's the Panthers defense. Taking a look at that defense, obviously a top pass defense. The only question for the Panthers is which run defense will show up today. So as I said, hopefully it's the run stoppers that we saw in the previous couple of games and not the one versus Green Bay. Because with Etienne, he does have a habit of getting those explosive runs, which was a category that even though the Panthers' run game was trending in the proper direction, they were still giving up those explosive runs. So that's something that Etienne is capable of. We got to make sure they can limit that. But the Jaguars have not had a single rusher with more than 50 yards over the past 4 games. So a great opportunity for that Panthers run defense to kick back in the way it's been playing. And a big bonus for the Panthers is Frankie Louvo, who's listed as questionable. We'll check on him. Hopefully he's available because that is part of their run-stopping game. And Derek Brown, obviously one of the top tacklers in the league as far as defensive linemen go. So a lot of great points. Derek Brown was also out today working out, so he looked good today. Didn't see any signs that he might not be a go. So we got to look at our keys to the game. It's ramping up out here, so lots of distractions out here right now. The fans are starting to pack in behind the camera, and a lot of Panthers fans are showing up. Keys to the game, fast start. As we mentioned, got to get that fast start on offense. It's something that they've had trouble with all year, only did it basically one time this year with a fast start on offense. So hopefully this will be the key to them getting their first win on the road with a fast start today. And then the defense creating turnovers. We've started to see that recently. Today, that'll play big to help get this win so that the Panthers can help be spoilers to the Jaguars, who still have playoff hopes, and then continue to spread the ball around. Did a great job of that last week despite the loss, seeing DJ Chark, back making those big catches like we saw and anticipated he would do in training camp last year. So we've got a lot of amazing fans. David Tepper out today talking to the fans. So a lot of good energy out on the sidelines today for the Carolina Panthers. And so let's check our inactive list. So inactives today, cornerback Troy Hill is inactive. C.J. Henderson is also inactive. Offensive tackle Ricky Lee. Elm Manning, who just got here, has been ruled inactive for today. And wide receiver Michael Strawn, he's inactive. Terrace Marshall Jr., who's been inactive frequently recently, and then Chris Wormley. So those are your inactives for the Carolina Panthers today. But it looks like it's going to be a good matchup. The sun's out. David Tepper's been out here. So seems like everything's going great for these Cats today. Hopefully this good weather and all the guys trending in the right direction will be the catalyst for a win today. So that'll do it for your Carolina Pro Football Report on ADSN1.com and 7:30 The Game. I'm Kevin Tolbert from Everbank Stadium here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we'll see you after the game. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and be sure to log on post-game to get all the interviews and updates about today's game, plus more features and our recaps. So we'll see you after today's game.